Okay, so we're in Parashat Lech Lecha. Parashat Lech Lecha. You know, sometimes you get this, it's like an elbow, you know, you get like an elbow like this, a hit, at the most unexpected times. For example, you know, like a zet, or like, you know, and most of the time we're not ready for it. You could, I don't know, you could be brushing your teeth at the end of a work day, in the shower, maybe when you, after Shabbat, when you like fill yourself with cholent and some bourbon or something like that. And what I'm referring to, that little elbow, is this question that you're really asking yourself is like, where in the world I'm going with this life? Where in the world I'm going with what I'm doing? Where's this going to lead me? And especially in our day, in our time, that the word to walk, to go, is almost disappearing because everybody's running from one place to another. Besides, of course, when you're sitting down in traffic. But we lost that walking thing. You know, we're always running things. If I ask you where you're running, is who in the world was that? There was a band in the 80s. It was called the Talking Heads. And they had a song, we are running to nowhere. Well, basically, we're running nowhere. And the first pasuk in this parasha give us somewhat of a direction. Lech Lecha, מארצך וממולדתך ובית אביך, אל הארץ אשר אראך. And we all know what it means, you know. And of course the parasha comes and tells us the story of Avraham Avinu, which is the greatest believer out there. He was the one with the most emunah out there, with tests that nobody before and after had tests like he did. And that the Zohar tells us, you know, if we're talking a little bit, where's the Kabbalist here? You get your carpet ready, all cleaned out. The Zohar tells us that Avraham Avinu was much more than a teacher, patriarch, and so on and so forth. But Avraham Avinu represents the neshama inside of us, the power that each and every one of us, the spiritual power inside each and every one of us, that in a very, very specific way goes towards its tikkun, towards its repair. I'll use the word tikkun is really to fix, but really tikkun intends, I'll use the word into its destiny. And Avraham Avinu represents that. In other words, it's inside our spiritual DNA. It says in the name of the Ari that since the time of creation, there hasn't been two people who are the same. En Adam domeh lere'ehu. Everyone is different. And because of that, nobody can fix what you're supposed to be fixing. In other words, nobody can take somebody else's job in doing that destiny, whether it's the world's destiny in terms of fixing up the world, or your own personal destiny. Nobody can do the job for you. I mean, of course, that tells you a lot about what we're going to talk about. But that's it. I mean, you have a job. You're never going to be fired. The day you're going to be fired is not going to be basically fired. You're going to go on retirement. That's called death. Until then, you got to work. Unless you have some kind of a medical disability, and you know what I'm saying. But you got to work. Even that is a tikkun. And the reason why you came to this world is to fix and to reach that destination or that matter that need to be fixed. That only you could do. Nobody else can do it. The emunah, we call it hashgacha, the belief in divine providence, teaches us, and that's, guys, pay very close attention. I mean, you should always pay close attention to what I say, but especially today. As I said to you, they will probably save you a lot of money, headaches, and visits to the shrinks, and to so on, so many other things in life. But believing in hashgacha, in divine providence, teaches us that all your life conditions, everything that comes through your life, whether it's in materialistic aspects or spiritual aspects, whether it's something good happens to you or something bad happens to you, everything was given to you only in a very customized fashion that be appropriate to be metak in your world. That's what you need to do. That's why if I'm going to ask, for example, Mark, how are things for you? He said, the bad. So what's bad? Don't tell me A, B, C, and D. So that's bad. Wait until I tell you what I have to, and so on and so forth. And what's good is good. Everything is designed for you. All you got to do is finish, do the job. It's something that it's very, very deep and very philosophical, and today we'll talk more about those aspects because it's shayach to all of us. And I don't think that, believe me, finishing tonight, what we'll say here, Be'ezrat Hashem, I really believe that you should really think about it very, very carefully. Very carefully. Don't spend another day not thinking about what we're going to say here tonight. Please, take your time and think. Before you go to bed, take a hot shower, just reminisce and go back on what we said. And we should know that only by those conditions you're going to reach the destination in which you should be reaching. Whatever the destination would be. Whatever that would be. And if, let's say, our destination is here, and his brother's is there, that doesn't mean that one is better than the other. We determine whether you finish what you need to finish, whether you accomplish what you need to accomplish. And we'll see a little bit what needs to be accomplished. A lot of it has to be for you, and some of them you would not even know it throughout your lives. You think it's just to deal with it. Sometimes to reach that destination or to fix what needs to be fixed, it's just a matter of dealing with it. The attitude is the problem. And again, if we go and we say that there's nothing bad that comes from Shamayim, of course, there are certain things you will do harm to yourself. I mean, taking a cigarette and smoking it, or injecting yourself with something, or sniffing something, and I'm not talking about besamim. Yeah, that's going to be bad because you chose to do so. That's not mishamayim, the decree. However, the decree could have been, or the situation was for you to be in front of this and simply say, no, I don't do that. The fact that you did it, well, you failed. You failed. So, and this is again, this is also, everything is a device that came in place, specially designed for you to reach your destination. Therefore, if everything good or bad, as I said to you many, many times, there's no such thing of good or bad. Things happen. The way you interpret that is good and bad. Now that you understand that, you say, well, everything is just, to serve me. I need to see. Instead of crying like a baby, why me, why me, why me, why me, right? So, okay, that was given to me. How can I deal with this? What's the best way for me to come? Don't blame other people. He said this to me. He did this to me. He did, and so on and so forth. Just move on with this. Well, how can I deal with it to the best of my abilities? Including hardship. I spoke with the shaliach, Lubavitch shaliach, not the shaliach like UPS, Lubavitch shaliach. And I said to him that sometimes, I feel like giving up. It's just like I can't take those tidal waves anymore of like dealing with so many different things and so on and so forth. So he says to me, I'll tell you, among shlichim, we have a concept that we say that when the yeush comes, when you feel like, okay, giving up, that's exactly a measure for you to know that you're doing the right thing and you should never give up. Because if you were doing, it was bad, that's terrific, it's all goes, you're never going to give up. The fact that things are hard for you means that there is an opposing force resisting you doing what you need to do, accomplishing what you need to accomplish. So if you reach the place, don't worry, just continue going. Don't worry about this, just continue going. Of course, easier said than done, but it's something that it's worth contemplating and hearing about. Because we all reach that stage. In the Zohar it says further, Amar Rabbi Elazar, Lech Lecha, Lech Hainu le'atzmecha. In other words, go for yourself. Go for yourself. In other words, go fix yourself. Fix yourself. To fix your level, every level that you at, right? Every level that you're at, you got to fix that level. There's no point of jumping up if you haven't fixed where you're at. Everybody needs to fix their level. So Lech Lecha, that's what it is. In other words, after you fix this, you move on. Don't stay with those people who are so-called Rasha'im, who are wicked, who are not interested in moving and creating this Tikkun Olam, what we call Tikkun Olam. And if you want, you can actually look at this in the Pirush of Baal HaSulam on the Zohar and Parashat Lecha. I would recommend to you guys to take a look at that. It's very, very interesting. So therefore, the Zohar tells us that the commandment that was given to Avraham Avinu was to go basically to fix himself. According to the Zohar, was to go to fix himself, to complete the madrega, the level that it was at, as we know. And of course, we know that the Torah, the Tanakh, is not a history book. This is not just a history book to tell us, oh, this one happened there, and then one happens here, and so on and so forth. But it really is a guiding book, and it's a book of guidance which is applicable to all of us, all the time, in every generation, to all of us. And that's why all these things that were written in the Tanakh and the Torah were written in such a way that will be eternal forever. It will be applicable forever for everybody. There were many things that Avraham Avinu said. There's many things that God spoke to Avraham, but only those things were said because it's shayach to us as well. And once you know that there is a book of a manual, an owner's manual of how to conduct yourself in the world, so we could understand this. We could see further that Avraham Avinu not only plowed the road for us to reach what we call the Tikkun Shalem, but he also represents each and every one of us, that part of our neshama that is the part of Avraham Avinu inside of us. So we could always relate to that point and then learn from what he did. We'll learn what to do, we'll be able to apply what to do. Therefore, the tzivui of Lecha really should echo in your awareness all the time in what we call avodah ruchanit amitit. In other words, your spiritual growth, your spiritual laboring. And are we working on our ruchniut, or we're just working for? I mean, if I'm going to ask any of you, why are you doing? Okay, I'm going to college. I have a job. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Very good. Why are you doing so? Well, I said, to my future. I need to take care of my future. Retirement, pension, this, that, and the other thing. Good to see you, Tzaddik. Happy to see you. So, but the question is, I'm going to ask you, if you are so concerned about the future, are you concerned also about your spiritual future? Or what's going to be with your neshama? If you could you telling me that you have the ability, and by the way, when I'm saying you, I mean also me, of course, yeah? I'm not just saying, I mean me, first of all me. And I'll tell you why, because I need to hear also what I'm saying. It's very important, and that's so for all of you. But if you have this ability to tell me, well, to make this cheshbon, if I'm going to put X amount of money in my 401k, if I put so much money in my tax deferred annuity, I'll do this, I'll do this, I'll do this. Based on my salary, in 5 years I'll do this, in 10 years I'll do that. I'm expected to make X amount of money in my pension, and that would secure my future. And I'm going to ask you, how about your spiritual future? You tell me that you know how you want your life to look when you're going to be, let's say, what's retirement? 65 years old, 60 years old, 50 years old, 40 years old. And I'm going to ask you this. Do you have a plan of how your spiritual growth when you're going to be 40 years old, 50 years old, 60 years old, and so on and so forth? Or you simply neglect that completely? I'm not just talking about finishing, pages in the Gemara. I'm talking about your avodah ruchanit, on your understanding of what this world is all about. What are you here for? Did you ever think about that? And what are you doing for that? And again, I'm not just talking about learning Gemara or learning halacha, because that's what we got to do. But while you're doing so, it's like learning Gemara or halacha, or whatever it is that you learn, without actually understanding why you're doing that. It's not going to work. And saying, why are you going to work? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know why you're going to work? No, I go to work. I mean, that's kind of crazy. It has to be avodah ruchanit to understand, because if you don't do that, somebody can change you on a dime, and you won't know. Well, why you do this? I don't know. What do you mean you don't know? You don't know, so let's change it. And then you find somebody that was, learning and learning for so many years, all of a sudden stop learning because he doesn't know why he's doing what he's doing. That's called avodah ruchanit. You have to work on yourself. That's why limud musar is very important. However, you need to learn it with a guide. You need somebody to guide you, not just reading it from a book. So, what is your spiritual work, each and every one of you? Did you dedicate time for this? Did you ever contemplate about higher things about life? We call it philosophy, and philosophy today among us became like a dirty word. It's like pornography, philosophy, the same thing. However, is there any kind of a philosophical debate inside of you? Not like, why should I do this, why should I do that, where is God? This is for retarded kids in, I don't know what, that live on Mars. Something substantial that appropriate your age. The deliberately I said Mars like this, nobody can tell me it's not, politically correct. It's on Mars, it's okay. Different laws in Mars, right, Yaakov, over there? Tzaddik. Okay? The Netivot Shalom continues and adds, he said, Lech Lecha liyudcha, to your purpose. To your purpose. Lech Lecha, go to you. Lech Lecha, to your purpose. To the tikkun of your neshama, which is really the ikar tafkid of every Jew. Your neshama needs fixing. As much as you would change your oil, and you see this all over in everything that you do. You rent a car, you buy a car, you have a service plan. You buy a dishwasher, a mouthwasher, an ear washer, whatever it is that you. Service plan, guarantee. Okay, you have to change oil in your car. Every single. Do you concern about the maintenance of your neshama? I think leasing a car is actually a bad thing, because it really teaches you to be irresponsible about repair schedule. And all these things and everything that you do to your life would manifest into your avodah ruchanit. Everything. Whether it's keeping your room clean, or your clothes neat, and having things on time, being organized, and so on and so forth, would reflect internally. Everything that you do externally is a reflection of processes that happen to you internally. One needs to remember that. And the question is, do we do that? Do we even think about not our future, our purpose. Our purpose. Many people think that if they never reach their purpose in life, they would live forever. I didn't finish yet, you can't fire me. You want to bet? It's not about how long you live. It's while you were alive, what have you done? Look, I'll throw you some names. I mean, I wish they would live longer. Who knows what we would have had? But look at what they did while they were here. These are old people that died before 50 years old. Aryeh Kaplan, the Ari, the Ramah, the Ramchal. All these people, young. Some of them died before 40. What have they done? What is your purpose? What did you come here for? Now, when we say that tzivui hora'ah is lehorot. I'm telling you. However, is also hora'ah is what? Hora'ah is to teach. A more is a teacher. Hora'ah is teaching. So, in other words, when it says, when it says Lech Lecha, that command was for all Am Yisrael, for all the neshamot that came from Avraham Avinu. We all need to know that, again, each and every one of us have very special, unique spiritual traits and abilities, and so on and so forth. Some have good abilities. Some have bad abilities. Some people are easily angered. Some people have a lot of ta'ava. Some people have a lot of ga'ava. It doesn't make a difference. Everything is for a purpose, and the purpose is to fix. So if a person, and the Ari tells us the same thing, if you know that something is hard for you to overcome, that's exactly what you came here to fix. Whatever is easier for you to do, that's why you don't have to fix. Hard for you to sit in Yeshiva to learn Gemara, that's why you came for. I talk about Kabbalah, oh, not my Kabbalah, I'm up, I'm okay. That's exactly what you didn't come here for. Hello. Well, then Gemara. Right? It's hard for you to do something, to get up in the morning on time. That's exactly what you need to come to fix. And so on and so forth. So on and so forth. You can't keep quiet. That's exactly what you came here. To shut up, not to speak. Maybe to get more chokhmah. No, maybe to get more chokhmah. You have ability to teach. You see that you are also good. I mean, that's not necessarily bad. You see that you have good qualities. That you have ability to teach. You have to teach. I don't know enough to teach. Well, sit down and learn. Who's stopping you? Everybody knows this, and we need to understand that. And therefore, that's what it says to all of us. The avodah is la'tzet mi'artzecha mimoladecha u'bebet avicha, to leave those conditions and those natural traits also that we have, right? All these things that happen to us, and all this nisyonot, the test that we have was, and all our characteristic traits that we have, and so on and so forth. Everything was given to us for a purpose, and the purpose is to fix ourselves. It was given to us from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, to fix ourselves. So we're talking about Lech Lecha, and going, okay? So what's exactly this thing of going, and why this parasha calls Parashat Lech Lecha? Because if you're going to look at this very carefully, that commandment, what says, in Lashon Halicha, walking. And there is a tremendous learning in the concept of learning. In other words, that you always have to go, and you have to reach the purpose. You should always go. Lech Lecha, walk. Walk. And the rule is that in Avodat HaBoreh, when it comes to being a Jew, Avodat HaBoreh, a person, Rabotai, is not allowed to stand in one place. It always has to progress and become better in Avodah Ruchanit. And by the way, that is in every given moment. In every given moment. Every year, every day, and so on and so forth. which is not like, for example, in the materialistic world. Because if I'm standing in one place, I'm standing in one place. If I didn't progress or I didn't go back. In spiritual world, because it's a multi-dimensional, if I'm standing in one place, I'm actually going backwards. If I'm staying in one place, I'm going backwards. In other words, if I didn't become better this year, I became worse than I was last year. I'm the same thing. I reach a certain spiritual depth, like this, means I'm going back. Because everybody else is moving further and further, and I'm staying here, they're going back. It's all relative. So in spiritual work, you have to see that. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu told Avraham Avinu, it shows us the way for Kol Am Yisrael, for all his children. Right? It's something that we do. The father tells the children what to do. So Avraham Avinu told us how exactly to do so. How did Avraham Avinu knew it? Because HaKadosh Baruch Hu simply told them. In other words, we have to fix whatever needs to be fixed until we're going to reach the ultimate purpose for us coming to this world. And the Yetziyah that Avraham Avinu does, the fact that Avraham Avinu leaves Eretz Canaan, by the way, you should know, it's already mentioned in the last week's parasha. In last week's parasha, it says, "Vayesu itam me'ur kasdim lalechet arza Canaan." Look at Bereshit Yud Aleph Pasuk Lamed Aleph. So why it says to it again Lech Lecha? They already left. They should say Parashat Lech Lecha then, or include that psukim in this parasha. Why? And if he already left, why are you telling him to go? He already left. Why is he going? Why are you telling him to go? Right? It's like, for example, let's say Sam is cleaning the table. I said to him, Sam, we in the middle of cleaning the table. He said, clean the table. No, but he's already cleaning. Why are you telling him to clean? Same thing. He already left. Why are you telling him to go? Avraham Avinu already went to the journey, and we need to understand that. So there's a story on here. That's for you, Rebs. There's a story on one of the Talmidim of the Magid Mimezrich. You know who he was? He was a Magid that lived in Mezrich, yes. So that Talmid wanted to go to Eretz Israel. He wanted to go to Eretz Israel, and he went to a journey, and he came to the city of No, that's in Israel. No, he was going to Israel,
He didn't get there yet.
and he get to the city of Istanbul. Think about this name for a second, Istanbul. Istanbul is such a wonderful name. It could be like in a James Bond movie, you know. It's Istanbul. Right? It's like a mysterious name. Funky place. He goes to Istanbul, and because over there from Istanbul were the boats that were sailed towards Israel. Usually they will go to Yaffo, to the old port of Yaffo. And on that Shabbat in Istanbul, he started to feel a tremendous yerida ruchanit. Not yerida. He didn't feel any elevations because he didn't feel any spiritual elevation. It was a decline for him, and that decline, it was quite evident. So immediately, as soon as he felt that, he didn't feel this uplifting. He started to think. He says, maybe going to Israel bichlal is a mistake. And by the way, this is something that we all do. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe I should go back, and so on and so forth. And he became very sad over that. So all of a sudden he sees a Jew. He says, "Hey, Jew, shalom, ma shalomcha, Baruch Hashem." He says, "From your Baruch Hashem, it looks terrible." So, he said that he exactly that time he came from the Mabul. From the Mabul. he heard the Magid B'Mezrich giving a shmuz, and it was on Parashat Noach, and so on and so forth, on Avraham walking, and it was already mentioned, so therefore why do we have to say Avraham, why do we have to tell Avraham again another time to go? And the Magid says the whole entire shmuz on that. And the Magid said that Avraham Avinu understood the importance, the chashivut of Eretz Israel, and the importance of the journey. Again, Rabotai, is not always the destination. The journey is more important than reaching the destination. Lefum tza'ara agra. It's not about reaching the destination. It is about the quality of the journey. And if the journey is hard for you, you get more reward. So, but all of a sudden, so Avraham Avinu was thinking about this, and he already went from Ur Kasdim, And then he says, one day he was sitting down like this, and in like South, what was it, South, somewhere in Syria over there. He says, oh my goodness. Actually, he was from Turkey. So, I told you Avraham Avinu was Turkish. Ur Kasdim, and Ur is in Urfa. The city of Urfa is Ur Kasdim. In Bukhara. Urfa is in Turkey.
No, Haran is in Turkey also.
Yeah. Turkey, Urfa is on the border of Syria and Turkey. Urfalim, they are Jews, they're called Urfalim. And there's a whole place there that there's a Ma'ayan there. Even to the Muslims, there's a certain place that is very sacred for them. That's the Ma'ayan of Avraham Avinu, they call it. It became like a huge pool like this, but never mind. So he started thinking about his cattle. He said, oh my goodness, my cattle. And then he started thinking about his people. He said, oh yeah, I knew so many people were able to be Choser B'tshuva. He started all of a sudden thinking about, maybe I shouldn't go, maybe I should go back. When he started thinking about maybe I should go back about all these things, HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, no, Habibi. You walked alone. Now you're thinking of coming back. But now I am telling you, Lech Lecha. Now you can't betray me. Now it's Lech Lecha. Now you got to go. Don't start thinking. Don't start hesitating. And we have to understand that all this, what we call hirurim, all these thoughts, all these little doubts that we have on our heads, everything is from Yetzer Hara. That's why they say, for example, you should never second guess your rabbi, your mentor. Why? Because all these things, and this is what Chazal, that's what Mekubalim tells us, they are all issues of klipot that come, attach themselves, and overwhelm you because I have a yero. Maybe I should do this. That's a safek, that's a doubt. And we know that that's a klipa. Safek is a klipa. It will cover you. Maybe he's not so good as I think he is. Maybe the place is not so good as I thought it was. You start doubting. You start thinking. You're not doing things be'emunah. That's the klipa coming over to you. And it happens to us all the time. You're about to do a mitzvah. Maybe I shouldn't go. Maybe it's really cold outside. All of a sudden he says, it's cold outside. I'm going to get sick. I'm getting a little sick. Guess what? I'm not going to Minyan today. I'm home, looking like this. Finished. Every time you want to do something good, you're going to say to yourself, you know what? Today, every day, I'm kovea itim la Torah. After tefillah, I'm coming to learn for an hour, 2 hours. I'm doing daf yomi, I'm doing halacha yomit, I'm doing chok l'Yisrael, which is something very good to do. Those people who are very much in a rush and so on and so forth. Listen to a tape or listen to a lecture is a wonderful thing. If you, instead of listening to, Madonna or, Ariana Muy Grande, whatever it is. So listen to a shiur by all means. However, if you have very limited time, so take Chok l'Yisrael and read it. It gives you a tremendous broadness. And it's wonderful. As soon as you made a commitment to learn, today I'm learning Chok l'Yisrael, all of a sudden they call you from work, you made a bigger commitment, a bigger thing, deals, all of a sudden you could knock on a deal for a year. As soon as you made a commitment to come to learn yeshiva, boom, deal goes through, you have to go there right away. That's why I keep telling people all the time, you lost a job, you're looking for a job, you need a job, come to yeshiva, guarantee you get a job. That's what it is, I'm telling you. It's not begeder svara. This is practically happened. As soon as you made a commitment to come to yeshiva, you're going to get a job. Because that's how the Yetzer Hara works. And these are the hirurim of the Yetzer Hara. That's what it is. A person finally is getting married. He goes with a girl, kol sason v'kol simcha, kol chatam v'kol kala. Yofi. They got themselves a place, they got themselves this, and akol tov v'yafeh. All of a sudden they're saying, maybe I can get somebody better. Right? You buy yourself anything. Oh, maybe I should not have bought it. But you made yourself, it's everything that you do. Those fekot as a Yetzer Hara. So therefore, before, for example, you buy something, or, make sure that this is exactly what you need, this is exactly what you need to have it, not because you want to, because you have to have it for good reason, and then buy it, don't think about it. Like this, you eliminate those doubts, this anxiety, and becomes a vicious cycle. That's what it is. So Avraham Avinu started thinking. HaKadosh Baruch Hu said to him, Lech Lecha. So that would explain why the tzivui was given to us was given to us twice. And this is the same thing. When a person goes to a spiritual journey, he already understood that there is a Borei La'olam. There is already a God there, right? And now he understands also that now we need to fix this world and we need to start making tshuva. And tshuva is not something that you do once in your life and then say, okay, I'm about tshuva, that's it, goodbye. Tshuva is for all of us, even if your father was the Gaon Mivilna, if your father was, I don't know, Moshe Rabbeinu, you still have to do tshuva. Every person needs to do tshuva. The process of tshuva is the understanding, a deeper understanding at the level of my actions. Even if they were good, I must have, could have done something that it was not right. Maybe my intent was not 100%. The tshuva is the realization, and then that is the link that helps you move from this stage to the other stage. Makes you go up higher. That awareness that there is a higher level of existence, of a higher level of doing things. That's the process of tshuva. So if you're on a spiritual journey, you already have that, you need to understand this. You need to understand that then you move on. So as soon as you do so, all of a sudden starts the doubts, right? What happens? All of a sudden you start reminiscing to your old friends. Over there, this guy, is a nice guy. Okay, the time, it was so much fun. Yes, we used to smoke a lot of dope, but it was so much fun. We were singing by the fire, we were singing Bob Dylan songs. I don't know, whatever it is that you were singing, Right? What? Reminds you of something? Keep it to yourself. Right? We were doing all these things. But if you look at it, they're really bad people. But regardless they were bad, you're always trying to look back to them. All of a sudden. And that exactly when you decided to do the right thing. All of a sudden you start to have like old desires or big ta'avot. You already overcome this. Now you move to all of a sudden this comes out again. Because that's the way it is. So it's a lesson to us. At that moment, a person needs to be completely mitchazek in emunah, and he needs to remind himself all the time the commandment that Avraham Avinu received on behalf of all of us. He received on behalf of all of us to all Jewish generations, Lech Lecha, you should go. There's no way for you to come back. There's no way to go back. The way back is closed. You can't go back. Because going back means going down. I'm going to ask you this. Let's say, for example, you work in a company. Okay? Whatever company. And you started at the bottom. I don't know, you're like let's say like a Home Depot guy, right? Whatever. You work in a company with the guys, with this and that. And slowly you start to promote yourself. Now you become the branch manager. Would you like to go? I'm going to tell you now, listen, I'm the CEO coming to you. I said, I have an offer for you. I give you two options. Tell me what you want. To stay in this position, it's impossible. I evaluate you and so on and so forth. However, I give you a choice. Either you're going to go down back to the floor, to go down with the guys who are shoveling the stuff, putting on the shelves, stocking shelves up, or you can move up to the headquarters. What are you going to say? No, I want to go back to the... So it's impossible. Everybody wants to move up. Why in Avodah Ruchanit you want to go down again? To show you that Avodah Ruchanit, the spiritual work, is the ikar, is the essence of you coming to this world. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been so hard. Whenever it's easy like this for you, that I can figure out because it's physical. It's very easy for you. That's not important. The ikar is Avodah Ruchanit. But however, whatever will be good for here, right here will be right there. You would not go from, let's say, from headquarters down back to the floor in some store in who knows where, in Yehobitzville, stuffing shelves. Even though you came from there. Why in spiritual work you always want to go back again to the pits? Why? And that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells us. Listen, I understand this has happened. The tikkun is that there is klipot that attach themselves to the kedusha. I understand this. So therefore, I'm telling you what to do. Go. Don't look back. Look what happened to Lot's wife. She looked back. Why are you looking back? It's a disgusting place, Dom. So why are you looking back? You looking back? Look what happened to you. You freeze. You become a pillar of salt. Now, that needs chizuk. You need to understand this. Now I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to read to you something by a person named Lewis Carroll. Lewis Carroll says the following. There was a little girl. Her name was?
Alice.
Alice. That's right. Very Alice. And Alice says, would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go from here? So the cat said to her, well, that depends a good deal on where you want to go. So Alice said to him, I don't much care where. So the cat says to her, then it doesn't matter which way you go. And Alice says to him, so long as I get somewhere. And he said to her, oh, you're sure to do that if only you'll walk enough. You'll get somewhere if you walk enough. So if you think that you're not going to go, this is Alice in Wonderland, by the way, is not really a story for kids. Well, this is basically the concept of Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha me'artzecha u'lemodecha el haaretz asher alecha. Go somewhere and I'll tell you where to go. And Avraham Avinu never doubts. He goes. He was willing to go to the end of the world. If you go and you keep on going, you'll get somewhere. But if you don't go, you'll get nowhere. Don't believe me? Ask Alice. She went down the rabbit hole. Now, however, you should know that this paragraph shows a very grim reality to most of us. And by the way, again, most of us means you, me, and everybody else, that we have no idea to where we're going and what's the purpose in life. Most of us, because we never think about it. And the first pasuk of this parasha gives us an indication. Lech lecha, to where? From where? From your land. From your place, from the house of your father, to the land in which I will show you. In other words, we are commanded as the descendants of Avraham Avinu to march and to work and to progress and to achieve ideals, great ideals of life, which is Haaretz HaTova, the great land. Over there in the great land, the promised land, all our desires and everything that we wanted, all the great dreams will come true. Not when you wish upon a star, when you actually walk. And also the people sit down there and sitting when you wish upon a star. You don't wish upon a star. You get a rocket ship and you fly out there. Well, I really mean that. In other words, listen, it seems like a very nice concept. However, it seems quite far, really far from what we're doing. This is really far from what we're even thinking. So let's play close attention to the two words, two small little letters over there. In other words, it's Lech Lecha. Lech Lecha. Lech, what's the gematria of Lech?
50.
50. You have to go into 50 different gates, even if it will take you twice to go there. But you're going to continue going. You have to go through it. Even if it's twice. Don't give up. Never give up. Now, you should see also that you should know that in a journey like this, you will be commanded to walk. You need to do the work all the time. And HaKadosh Baruch Hu tells them, you're going to move. You're going to move. It's going to be a journey. And however, before you're going to start conquering that, you need to pay attention. You need to pay a close attention that this journey starts with what? With you. Lech to whom?
Lecha.
First of all, Lecha. לא לך, הקדוש ברוך should have said like this, לך אל הארץ אשר אני מצווה ואתנה לך. No, קודם כל לך לך. What does it mean, go to you? Now I'm going to tell you something that maybe you're not going to agree with me, but it won't be the first time. Now, only after you make the journey, first of all, internally to yourself, only then you can conquer the world. Well, that means many things. First of all, that means that you need to, first of all, control yourself before you control others. You need to, if you want to achieve your goals, first of all, you have to know what? Who are you? And that's exactly what he's telling us here. He says, without that connection to yourself, understanding that you first of all had to work on yourself, in other words, without you being truthfully present, you're not going to achieve anything. If you're going to go about in life with a completely feeling of disconnect and kind of alienating yourself from the whole scene, that's going to hit you in the middle of life. I mean, some people call it midlife crisis and so on and so forth. However, it's going to hit you, as I told you in the beginning, exactly at the time which you least expected and the time that you least ready for it. And it's going to hit you, and I'm going to tell you, it's going to be a tsunami of awareness. It is going to hit you. You're going to say, oh my goodness, what have I done with my life? Again, going back to Talking Heads. I don't know what Talking Heads, but Talking Heads is a beautiful song. It goes, and you may ask yourself, what do I do with this beautiful house? And you may ask yourself, where does high you go to, and so on and so forth. And you may think to yourself, my God, what have I done? In other words, you're going to realize that all of a sudden you wasted your life. And why going to this point? HaKadosh Baruch Hu give it. You think you're going to be free from answering that? HaKadosh Baruch Hu will tell you, I gave you life. Why did you waste it? And what did you waste it on? Why didn't you do something? You tell me you care about Am Yisrael, you care about the Jews. Did you actually sit down and try to reach out to them to bring them closer here? Did you do anything for us? What did you do? You only worried about yourself. That's why I brought you here. That's why I created the whole world. That's why I maneuvered everything from the beginning of creation, so you can come in those circumstances, meeting the people. If you think about this all the time, all the people that you meet in your life was geared and planned from the first day of creation, that you meet the people that you are at for a reason. The question is why? To do bad with, to smoke dope with, to get drunk? No, to do good. So instead of sitting down like a bunch of hoodlums, smoking, eating, drinking, and who knows what else you're doing, let's try to see, guys, we are very capable. We can make companies that make money. We can teach, we can instruct, we can do things. Let's do something. לא מגדל וראשו בשמיים. Let's make the earth a כיסא for HaKadosh Baruch Hu to sit on. לכבודו של HaKadosh Baruch Hu. We are all capable. This is not for me. I was put here for a reason. What is the reason? Do I know what my reason? You can tell me no. I'm going to ask you, why aren't you thinking? You have to know what you're doing. So of course, you're going to say, well, what does it mean? The word ani, me in Hebrew, means it was selfish, right? Ani, I, right? Everybody tells you, oh, don't be selfish, right? So you could say, you should ask yourself, then you understand, ani means my direction in life. Me is my direction in life. In order for me to go, first of all, to do Ratzon Hashem, I need to know what is my Ratzon. In other words, what is that you really want? Not what people told you need. What is what you want? Because you would not going to be able to do what God wants you to do if you don't know what is that you really want. What do you want? Do you want to be a gastroenterologist, to be human plumber the rest of your life? Or you want to go make cheese from goats? So go make cheese from goats, who do you care? What do you make in this cheshbonot? And in other words, I need to really find out really who I am, to know who I am. How many of us really know who we are? That's why I'm a big advocate of you, of getting out of your comfort zone and going to places, even if trips and going alone. Some of you guys actually went alone on a trip or will go alone on a trip. And I think it's a very wonderful thing. You really know who you are. You will be forced to sit there and look at the sky and say, oh, listen, it's beautiful out, but what am I doing with my life? And then you could really do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants. In order to do what HaKadosh Baruch Hu, why did HaKadosh Baruch Hu give the Torah to Avraham Avinu where there was in Haran until the end of it? Because you can't do that. You need to empty yourself from everything else, from your society, from your environment, from everything else, in order to receive something. It was full, it couldn't do it. So if you're going to tell me, 1 second, what do you mean? You're going to all about yourself? Do whatever HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants you to do. Do your Torah, do your mitzvot, do ma'asim tovim, connect yourself to Eretz Israel, be machmir kala kebachamura, and so on and so forth. When you become selfish here, all about yourself, I'm going to tell you something. Does Hashem wants me to know, first of all, who I am, what's my kochota. Why? Because it says, the Gemara says, Keshem she'en partzufehem shavin, ken en da'atam shava. My abilities, my kochot is different than Ari, is different than Yonatan, different than everybody else. The way I think is different than anybody else. But we are not operating here on individualism in terms of I do what I do without regardless of what he does. But I need to first of all know who I am and what am I about. If you want me to contribute to something, I need to know if I'm capable of contributing. And if not, if help needed, well, I can tell you what my abilities are, and then let's see how we could utilize it to fix whatever needs to be fixed. If, for example, let's say, I don't know, let's say Yitzchak is good in accounting, and I ask him, Yitzchak, do me a favor, we need the help here. Take this 2x4, start measuring, cut it on angles, make me an A-frame. He says, listen, I can give you numbers here, but at the hammer, I don't know. What's an A-frame? I don't know what an A-frame is. Give me algorithms. I can do you with my eyes closed. Sequential math, all these things. That I can do. That's a piece of cake for me. But for me, hammers, I don't know how to do that. The only hammer I know is MC hammer. I don't know any other hammers. So I said, 1 second. What are you good at? You're good at accounting. Oh, fine. Math, not a problem. Come, listen. I need to figure out angles here, whatever. That's easy. That's trigonometry. I'll do this. And then I'm utilizing him. And by utilizing him to his abilities, I have an appreciation for him, because without him I could not get the job done, or I need to make him figure out something else, and he feels important and he appreciates me giving me the option, and then we're becoming a very functional society. But when we don't know who we are and what our strengths, we will not know also what our weaknesses are. You have to really know really who you are. And that's why if I know really who I am, I will be able to think of what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from me. Because I know I am. I am means I am here. So now I know what HaKadosh Baruch Hu wants from me. And I will know also why I'm different from everybody else. And I will come to think about what is it that I could contribute, knowing my abilities. Knowing my abilities, knowing who I am, would help me bring more light, the appropriate light that I could bring with me, the bracha that I bring with me. That's why Kadosh Baruch Hu tells him, Gov, Lech, ve'eheyeh bracha, and you'll be a blessing. Well, when are you going to be a blessing? Only when you go, not now. When you go. When you'll be able to separate from that. And this journey, you have to understand, in the spiritual journey, you will have to separate from the reality in which you got used to. And you could not, therefore, which I can tell you all the time, you were not going to be able to blame or to put the blame on your geographic location, on your genes, on your society, on your neighborhood, and so on and so forth. You will have to put it on yourself if you haven't achieved your goal. And that nobody wants to do. So they would rather live miserable life than to really find out really who they are. Take responsibility for their actions. Only then you could become a bracha for everybody around you. Because you are creating yourself room to be. And we are not. We're not present. And we always put the blame on somebody else, on something else, instead of saying, putting this all behind, separating from it, and taking responsibility for our own selves. And that's what Avraham Avinu is telling him. This is what would allow you to overcome and to elevate yourself from what is natural and given. For example, Jews walk in the streets, the guy beats him up. Okay, that's a natural thing to do. No. The guy hates the Jews. Esav sonel Israel. Okay, Ishmael. Okay, we'll take this. No. You never take those things like this. You need to be able to elevate yourself from it. Never accept things the way they are. And whether it's your country, whether it's your household, whether it's your anything. Once you're going to go on this journey, you understand that your essence comes from an endless resource, and your abilities come from an endless resource. In other words, they come from Hashem. And you understand that all your powers and all your abilities and all your achievements come from Hashem. And unless you're going to go on this journey, you're never going to understand that. That's why you are lacking in your Avodat Hashem. Because you are living within your comfort zone. You are living within a guaranteed blame on someone else, with lack of willingness to receive the control, to really explore, first of all, who you really are. If I know my weaknesses, I can work on them. If I know my strengths, I could utilize them. But if I don't know anything, nothing will ever happen. And understanding, and once you do that, you'll understand one thing, that all your limitations or whatever you thought you were limited really would stem from you. You are the biggest obstacle in the highway of your life. Once you understand that, and that's what HaKadosh Baruch Hu told us, once you understand that you're free, and umah ve'en lashon shetochal leshabdam, nobody could oppress them. So therefore, if you're oppressing yourself, it's because you allow this to happen. It is, first of all, you. Rabotai, this is a wonderful, wonderful journey. It might seem scary to you and so on and so forth. However, there's no other way to life. There's no other way to live that it is be worthy to be called life. So you should go on this journey, think about it, and do not be afraid. Al tityashu, never give up. It's all good. You just have to know to overcome this little hiccup on the road. That is all. You know that you have a good pilot. If you're flying with the best pilot in the world, and there is a little turbulence, you say, we have a good pilot, I don't have to worry about it. It's a good plane, and I have nothing to worry about it. But if you don't know, you'll be panicking. So do not be panic. Have bitachon in HaKadosh Baruch Hu, that He will never leave you alone. And have emunah that everything that comes your way is for the best. Have emunah and the knowledge that every hardship that comes your way, you could overcome no problem by design. Know that. Do not be afraid. Everything is for the best. You are, and we all are, from the zera of Avraham Avinu. And the zera of Avraham Avinu, Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov, are propelled by emunah. And Rabotai, that's what we should work on. Let's work on ourselves, let's strengthen each other, and if one of us has the hardship to bring this light for himself, let's try to help them bring up the light. Let's everyone shine. Shine bright like a diamond, Rabotai. Shabbat Shalom.